Padres get the win in game one of this mini 2-game set against the Mariners in Seattle, 7-3. They used the back end of the bullpen. I'll get to that here in a second. But obviously, the big night for Manny Machado, not just the homer, but he drove in more runs as well. He had a 4 RBI night, as you see here in the box score, 2 for 5, 4 runs driven in, scored a run on that homer. His OPS is over 800 for the season, which is pretty darn good considering the start that he had, dealing with the elbow issue and the underperformance. I posted on social media after he hit that home run. Before the All-Star break, in over 90 games, he had 13 home runs. Since the All-Star break, in, I think, less than 50 games, definitely less than 50 games, he has 13 home runs. So he is just playing much better. He's producing much better offensively. He's playing pretty much every day in the field. And so this is the Manny Machado that the Padres paid. This is the Manny Machado that can help carry the Padres to a long postseason run. And hopefully that run obviously ends in the promised land. But man, is he locked in or what? He obviously, with his home run, set the Padres all-time franchise record. And while other fan bases may look at that and be like, less than 200 homers is the franchise record, who cares? We're Padres fans, and there are plenty of Padres fans that were, born way before I was born, and they watched Nate Colbert, and they watched all of Agon's career, and Phil Nevin, and Dave Winfield, the top 4 other than Manny, in that home run list. And so they were waiting. They've been waiting for a long time, some of you guys, for someone to come around like Manny Machado to break this record. And he did it, and he's here through 2033. At least that's how long his contract is. So that record will not be 164. That record will be much higher than that, assuming, knock on wood, that he can be healthy and be Manny Machado for a long time, not just this year, but years and years and years down the road. But it was great. Don's call, I think, was fantastic. Jesse's call was great as well. But Don nailed the moment. His enthusiasm for that call, there's like nothing better in announcers in Major League Baseball than Don getting excited for a call, right? I mean, yeah, I'm biased, but his calls when he gets like that and raises the voice, it's awesome. And that pitch, by the way, strike thrower on the mound, Kirby, and he took that 97, wasn't exactly down the middle, but it was pretty close, and he took it almost to dead center. So impressive stuff there. And by the way, shout out to his defense, him and Solano there a little bit. I think it was a little earlier than this. Yeah, to end the 5th inning. So before Manny had the homer, he helps end the 5th, get Darvish out of that with the runner on third, makes a good play, throws it over to Solano with the pick. And then later in the game, Jason Adam, relieves Tanner Scott. Laz Diaz sucked tonight. I mean, come on, let's be honest here. I don't know if Mariners fans would say that, but Tanner Scott struck out 2 guys. And so don't look at his line tonight, what his line ended up being. That's not actually what it should have been. He ends up going a third of an inning, giving up an earned run, walking 2. He had a couple of strikeouts there, so that was unfair to him. But Jason Adam comes in, bases loaded situation, and gets the 6-4-3 double play. Great job from him. And then Robert Suarez comes in, it's a save because I believe it was a save situation when he came into the game there in that 8th inning, gets 4 outs. And I saw someone on social media tweeted, please don't use ASS tonight. And I understand them like, hey, we got to save him. It's not a save situation. But for me, when you had an off day yesterday, you have an off day on Thursday, these guys can pitch back-to-back days with an off day before and then after. I'm totally fine with it. The Padres, they're not guaranteed to make the postseason. I think they're going to, but this wild card race keeps getting closer and closer. It was at, 2.5 games recently? So go get these wins. You have an opportunity to get the win. Don't mess around. Go get that win. Use your best relievers. You have an opportunity to win the game. Go do it. And so I was totally fine, especially, again, with the off days here, with 2 off days in the week, 2 off days in a 4-day period. Yeah, use your best relievers when you have a lead. Totally fine with that. So yeah, Darvish, tonight, the one of the 2 home runs, I wasn't even mad. I mean, go look at the location of that pitch. The other one, okay, yeah. But I think it was the first homer that he allowed. That ball was down. So give Cal Rowley credit. He likes to do that. No walks. Like that's one of the big positives I'm taking from Darvish tonight. No walks, 5 punch outs. Sure, you want him to go more than 5 innings, but again, he's working his way back. He's not fully back to being Yu Darvish. He had 63 pitches tonight. He didn't have more than 70, I don't think, in that first outing. So he's still building up, and we'll see if he gets built up by the postseason. I would assume he does. It's September 10th. He still has a number of starts to get ready, and then we'll see what happens. Hoping the Padres make the postseason. Is he going to start in a wild card series? The Padres have options. It's a good problem to have. So we'll see. But just overall tonight, now Tatis is another guy that I want to shout out. What a play he made. So he has the homer when the Padres were down 2-0, the 3-run homer to right. First homer since returning, and just takes it oppo. That was great to see. The power's there. And then the play that he made in right field, that was more impressive. Obviously, the shortstop background, the infield background, we know how freaking athletic the guy is. So we shouldn't be maybe that surprised, but he's still an outfielder. And when you're an outfielder doing that and you make a great throw like that on the run, like you're a shortstop, to bogey there at shortstop. And Bogaerts is another guy we got to talk about too, going back to short. But what a throw from Tatis. And then he hits a home, the home run was before that. But what a night from him. It first was the Tatis game, and then it turned into the Manny game because he made a good defensive play. He hit the homer. He drove in a couple more runs, 4 runs driven in total. So, yeah, this was going to be known as the Manny game with the franchise record, but Tatis had himself a pretty darn good night as well. Couple of hits. Luis Arraez, his average, by the way, is up to 318. His average was down around 300. I think it was below 300 at one point. Now it's up to 318. He's on a string here of, having 3 hit games. So good for him there at the top of the order. And then Xander Bogaerts moving back to shortstop. Ha-Seong Kim, I'd be a little surprised if he returns this year, because why would the Padres move Bogaerts to shortstop if it's not going to be a long-term thing, if it's going to be for a few games, for a couple of series? Wouldn't you just not mess with Bogaerts and you keep him at second base? Because remember, Xander didn't really want to move to shortstop because he was comfortable at second base. He was being the team player, moving to second base. He got comfortable there. And so he just wants to help the team as much as he can. And he probably felt in that moment like, hey, this is where I'm most comfortable. I want to stay here because I don't want to have to, have my mind be thinking about something else. I just want to produce the way that I'm doing right now. But he goes over to short. And so I feel like, Ha-Seong Kim, he doesn't have the zip on his throws. He isn't able to throw to first base like normal if he was healthy. And so that's clearly an issue. And so moving Xander over to short, you can have Crony play second. You have Solano play first. I know that you'd like to have Ha-Seong Kim defensively, him fully healthy, and Mason McCoy is probably better defensively at shortstop, and you have Bogaerts at second, Crony at first, and you don't have Solano at first. But you can keep Arraez in the lineup at DH. You can have Solano, a better bat than Mason McCoy, be at first. You have Jake Cronenworth, who can provide value there at second base with the range that he has. And he was an all-star, let's not forget that, multiple times at second base. And then Bogaerts, the dude played shortstop, won a couple of World Series at shortstop. He can do it. He wasn't terrible, I don't believe, last year either defensively. He was not. Who is that? O'Neal Cruz with the Pirates. He's not that. So I'm totally fine with it. You want more offense? Got to win these games. Do it. Now, maybe late in games, if the Padres have a big lead, maybe you'll see Mason McCoy at shortstop. Or maybe you see someone go to second base. Because Bogey, I feel like he'd probably want to stay at short. Like, don't move me to second base late in games. Keep me, if you're going to have me play short, I'm playing short. So maybe it's going to be, I don't know if Mason McCoy plays second base. Maybe he could. You can have someone like that. You can have Tyler Wade go play second base, and let's say it's like a 7-0 lead, right? It's a big lead. And you can have Crony go play first, better defensively than Solano, I would imagine, at first. Wade at second, Bogaerts at short, Manny at third. That's pretty darn good. And you have Arise still DHing. Or you can have Solano DH, right? If Arise is playing first that day. So I'm totally fine with this. To be honest, I was okay with McCoy just staying at shortstop anyway because I believe in the other guys in this lineup. It would be like if Kim was still there offensively. I wasn't relying on Ha-Seong Kim offensively when he was here. Sure, you want his defense, but I was looking at other guys in this lineup, like Arise, like Tatis, like Profar. This lineup today, Arise, Tatis, Profar, Manny, Cronenworth, Bogaerts, Merrill, Solano, and Higgy. That could be the lineup for the rest of the season. I would be fine with that. Those that want Crony and Merrill to be switched, I totally understand that, and I would not have a problem with that either. But, hey, with Merrill, seems like it's working pretty good, him hitting seventh there. And the Padres, with Cronenworth hitting where he is at, I forget how long exactly, pretty much since Bogey returned, right? Since Bogey and Tatis returned. He's been hitting there. Padres are 82 and 64 still. So, overall, it's working really good. And so, if he's asked that question, he's just probably going to reply, are we winning? And the answer to that is still yes, for the most part. Overall, they're still winning. So, obviously, for me, happy Padres fan tonight. I think the fan base got to be really happy with this Padres win. I was totally fine with the back end of the bullpen being used, even if they were up by more than 3 runs. You go win this game. I thought it was interesting that they went with Tanner Scott in that 7th, but hey, Jason Adam came through, and the Padres, the coaching staff, they know what they're doing. So I'm going to trust them. I have my trust in Schild. I have my trust in the coaching staff. They're clicking a lot of the right buttons this year for sure. And Manny, he's clicking right now. Speaking of clicking, he's clicking. Fernando, we're seeing encouraging signs. So, and Darvish, he's going to keep ramping up. We'll see what he ends up being here at the end of September going into October. But Manny, obviously, his night, and he's going to hit a lot more homers than what he has. He's here through 2033. And for those that think that that's a bad thing for the Padres, maybe at the end of the deal, but the way that Manny's playing, there's a reason why the Padres gave him that, why Peter Seidler gave Manny that money. There's a reason why he got the first contract, right? This dude's a stud. And let's remember, he's playing through the elbow recovery and a finger injury issue, right? That we learned of, I think, last Friday. Let's keep that in mind when we're watching Manny Machado and how he is one of the guys carrying this Padres team and he's hitting more home runs. What's the home run per at bat rate, right? However you say that. That is way better than what it was pre-All-Star break. He's getting further away from that elbow surgery, and this is starting to look like 2022 Manny Machado.